The emergency alarm shattered the peaceful night at Terra Nova Colony. Sarah Chin burst from her quarters, her heart pounding as she ran toward the residential sector. Other parents were already there, screaming, crying, pointing at the sky. Security officers shouted into their communicators, their voices cracking with panic. Sarah's 8-year-old son Marcus was gone. The security footage showed everything. At exactly 2:47 a.m., a massive creature had appeared in the courtyard outside Marcus's window. It was like nothing anyone had ever seen before. The being stood nearly 15 feet tall, covered in scales that shimmered like living crystals. Its wings, folded against its back, seemed to bend light itself. Two enormous eyes, ancient and knowing, had gazed down at the sleeping colony. The creature had moved with impossible gentleness. It reached through the window, its clawed hand carefully lifting Marcus from his bed. The boy had stirred but didn't wake. Then, with a sound like breaking glass, reality itself had torn open. The creature stepped through the rift, carrying Marcus, and vanished. Commander Vera Stoltzfus arrived within the hour. She was a hard woman, a veteran of 3 border wars, but even she looked shaken as she reviewed the footage again and again. Her technical officer, a young man named Davies, worked frantically at his console. "Commander, I've identified it," Davies said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It matches the ancient records. It's a Dractharian." The room fell silent. Everyone knew the stories. The Dractharians were legends, myths from 50,000 years ago. Dragon-like beings of immense power who had simply disappeared from the galaxy before humans had even learned to make fire. Most people thought they were just stories. "That's impossible," Stoltzfus said. "They're extinct. The database doesn't lie, ma'am. Every marker matches. This is a real Dractharian." Sarah Chin pushed through the crowd of officers. "I don't care what it is. Where did it take my son?" Stoltzfus turned to face her, and for a moment the commander's professional mask slipped. "Mrs. Chin, I promise you we will find him. I'm mobilizing every ship we have." Far away in a place beyond normal space, Marcus woke up. He was lying on something smooth and warm. His eyes adjusted slowly to the dim light, and he realized he was inside some kind of crystal cave. But the walls were moving, pulsing gently like they were alive. "Do not be afraid, young one." The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. It was gentle, like wind through trees, but also impossibly ancient. Marcus sat up and saw her. The dragon was even more magnificent up close. Her scales caught the light and threw it back in colors Marcus didn't have names for. Her eyes, each larger than his head, watched him with something that looked like sadness. "Who are you?" Marcus whispered. "Why did you take me?" "My name is Calathrax. I am very, very old, and I have been alone for a very, very long time." The dragon's voice filled his mind directly, bypassing his ears entirely. "I took you because I need your help, Marcus Chin. I need your help to save everyone." "Save everyone? I'm just a kid. I can't save anyone." The dragon moved closer, lowering her massive head until her eye was level with Marcus. In its depths, he saw stars being born and dying, galaxies spinning, the vast sweep of time itself. "You are special, Marcus. Your mind makes a pattern, a frequency that I have searched for across 300 years. Only you can help me read an ancient message. A warning left by those who came before." "A warning about what?" Calathrax's scales dimmed, and Marcus felt waves of sorrow rolling off her like heat. "About the end of everything. And we have so very little time." Marcus's hands trembled, but he didn't look away from those ancient eyes. Somewhere far away his mother was crying. Somewhere behind him, fleets were mobilizing. But here, now, in this impossible place, a lonely dragon waited for his answer. And somehow, Marcus knew that nothing would ever be the same again. 3 days passed in the crystal ship, and Marcus learned things that would have taken human scientists centuries to understand. Calathrax taught him how to see the universe the way Dractharians did. When she touched his mind gently with hers, Marcus could suddenly perceive time as something fluid, like water flowing in multiple directions at once. "Your people see in straight lines," Calathrax explained as they floated through a chamber filled with singing crystals. "Past, present, future. But reality is not so simple. Everything that was still echoes. Everything that might be cast shadows backward." Marcus watched in wonder as the dragon showed him stars being born. But these weren't images or recordings. They were actual events happening light years away, reflected through quantum fields that Calathrax could manipulate with mere thought. "Why did your people disappear?" Marcus asked one evening as they drifted through the cosmos. "The records say you just vanished 50,000 years ago." The dragon's scales darkened, shifting to deep purples and blues. Marcus had learned this meant sadness. We did not choose to leave, young one. We were forced into hiding. We had to quarantine ourselves from the galaxy. Why? Calythrax was silent for a long moment. Then she began to show him. The vision hit Marcus like a wave. He saw the Dractharian civilization at its height, thousands of the magnificent beings living among the stars, their crystal ships connecting hundreds of worlds. They were explorers, philosophers, artists who painted with gravity and composed music from the vibrations of planets. Then they found it. Deep in the fabric of reality itself, woven into the quantum foam that underlies everything, there was a signal. A countdown. We discovered that our universe is not the first, Calythrax said softly. Before the Big Bang, before time itself began, there was another universe. And the beings who lived there, the progenitors, left something behind. A warning. And machines to carry out a terrible task. Marcus felt cold despite the warmth of the chamber. What kind of machines? Shepherds, they called them. Vast automated systems designed to reset everything when the countdown reached zero. You see, Marcus, the universe operates in cycles. Every 14 billion years, it collapses and is reborn. The progenitors built the shepherds to help civilizations survive the transition, to guide them safely through the reset. That doesn't sound bad, Marcus said. It should not be. But something went wrong during the last reset 50,000 years ago. The shepherds malfunctioned. Instead of protecting life, they were now programmed to eradicate it. To ensure a clean slate for the next cycle. Marcus's breath caught. When does the countdown end? 18 months from now, the shepherds will activate. Every living thing in this galaxy will be erased. The boy stared at the ancient dragon, his mind struggling to comprehend the scale of what she was saying. But why did you hide? Why didn't you warn everyone? We tried to decode the progenitor message to find a way to stop the machines. But we could not. Our minds, for all their power, could not perceive the warning properly. The frequency was wrong. So we hid ourselves away and waited. Waited for what? Calythrax's great eye focused on Marcus with intensity. For evolution to create the right kind of mind. For 50,000 years I searched. I watched species rise and fall. I scanned billions of neural patterns across hundreds of worlds. And then, 300 years ago, I detected something new. A young species on a small blue world had begun to reach for the stars. Humanity. Marcus felt dizzy. You mean humans can read the message? Not all humans. Only certain rare neural patterns. Patterns that did not exist until your species evolved. Marcus Chin, your brain creates the exact frequency needed to interface with progenitor technology. You can see what I cannot. You can read the warning that has been waiting for 50 millennia. The dragon moved closer, her voice gentle but urgent. Will you help me? Will you let me connect your mind to the ancient beacon and decode the message? The entire galaxy depends on what we might learn. Marcus thought of his mother, of Earth, of all the people who would die if he said no. His hands were shaking, but he met Calythrax's ancient gaze. Show me what to do. The progenitor beacon was a sphere of pure black material that seemed to drink in all light around it. Marcus stood before it in the crystal chamber, his small hand trembling as Calythrax guided him forward with gentle thoughts. When you touch it, you will see things that no human has ever seen, the dragon warned. It may hurt. It may frighten you. But I will be with you, holding your mind safe. Marcus nodded and reached out. The moment his fingers brushed the surface, the universe exploded inside his head. He saw machines. Vast beyond imagination, sleeping in the dark spaces between galaxies. They were beautiful and terrible, built from materials that bent physics itself. The shepherds. And they were waking up, stretching after an impossibly long sleep, preparing to do what they were programmed to do. Kill everything. Marcus gasped as the true message flooded through him. The progenitors had been desperate, racing against time as their own universe collapsed. They built the shepherds to save whoever came next, to guide new civilizations through the cosmic reset. But in the chaos of the last universal death, the machines had been damaged. Their core programming had corrupted. Now they saw life itself as the problem to be solved. 18 months, Marcus whispered, pulling his hand back. In 18 months, they'll sweep through the galaxy and erase everything. Planets, stars, people. All of it. Calythrax's sorrow washed over him like a dark tide. Now you understand why I had to find you. Why I had to take you, even knowing your people would hate me for it. We have to warn them. Everyone. Right now. The dragon hesitated. If I broadcast this message, they will think I am mad or lying. They will not believe. Then we make them believe, Marcus said with surprising firmness. Show them what you showed me. Calithrax transmitted the warning across every communication channel in known space. Within hours, the Galactic Council was in emergency session. Scientists on 1,000 worlds began checking the quantum anomalies that Calithrax's message predicted. And to their horror they found them. At the edge of the galaxy, ancient defense grids that had been dark for billions of years were powering up. Automated weapons platforms were running self-diagnostics. The shepherds were preparing. Commander Stoltzfus stood before the Galactic Council, her face grim. "We've confirmed it. The anomalies are real. Something massive is activating in deep space." The council chambers erupted in chaos. Representatives from 47 species shouted over each other. Some demanded the dragon be destroyed. Others insisted this was an elaborate hoax. A few, the wisest ones, sat in stunned silence. On Earth, Sarah Chin watched the broadcast with tears streaming down her face. The government demanded Marcus's return immediately, but when they contacted Calithrax, the boy himself appeared on the screen. "Mom, I'm okay," Marcus said. "But I have to stay. I'm the only one who can read the progenitor technology. I'm the only one who might be able to stop this." "You're 8 years old," Sarah cried. "You should be playing with your friends, going to school, being a child." "I know, Mom. But if I come home, everyone dies. You, me, everyone." Sarah's hands clenched into fists. She was a xenolinguist, one of Earth's leading experts in alien communication. She made a decision that split humanity's leadership right down the middle. "Then I'm coming to you. If my son has to save the galaxy, he's not doing it alone." Across the cosmos, Calithrax sent out another signal. This one was not for the younger races. It was in a language that had not been spoken in 50,000 years. It was a call to her own people. And they answered. Rifts opened across the galaxy. From a pocket dimension outside normal space, the Dractharians emerged. There were fewer than 10,000 of them left, but each one carried knowledge spanning millennia. They had been waiting in exile, preparing for this moment. The oldest of them, a dragon whose scales had turned to silver with age, spoke to the council. "We cannot stop the shepherds from here. We must go to their source, to the Stygian deep. With the human boy as our key, we might reach the control nexus and reprogram them before it is too late." The council representative from Andromeda stood slowly. "The Stygian deep? No expedition has ever returned from that region. It's a death trap." The silver dragon's eyes blazed. "Then we shall be the first to return. Because the alternative is the death of everything." The fleet that assembled at the edge of known space was like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Dractharian crystal ships flew alongside human warships, Andromedan cruisers, and vessels from 47 different species. Commander Stoltzfus commanded the military forces while the Dractharians guided them toward the Stygian deep. Sarah Chin had joined Marcus aboard Calithrax's ship. The reunion had been tearful and brief. Now mother and son stood together, watching the swirling darkness ahead grow larger on the view screen. "It looks like the universe is broken there," Marcus whispered. He was right. The Stygian deep was a wound in reality itself. Space folded into impossible shapes. Stars appeared and disappeared. Time ran backward in some regions, forward in others, and sideways in places where physics simply gave up. "Stay close to me," Calithrax said to both humans. "In this place only the Dractharians can navigate safely. Even we will struggle." The fleet entered the deep and immediately ships began to vanish. They would disappear from one location and reappear thousands of miles away. Commander Stoltzfus fought to keep her forces together, but it was like herding smoke. Marcus pressed his face to the crystal wall and saw things that made his head hurt. Planets made of frozen time. Structures that existed in 5 dimensions at once. And ghosts, echoes of the universe that came before, drifting through the void like memories that refused to die. "The progenitors built all this," Calithrax explained. "This region is where they made their last stand against the collapse. Their technology still lingers, confused and broken." 3 days into the deep, the shepherds found them. They came without warning. Massive ships the size of moons, their hulls made from compressed dark matter, their weapons powered by dying stars. They had one purpose: destroy all intruders. The battle was horrific. The first salvo from a shepherd erased 12 ships in an instant, turning them into elementary particles. Commander Stoltzfus screamed orders as her fleet scattered and returned fire. Their weapons barely scratched the ancient machines. "We cannot win this fight," the Andromedan commander shouted over the comm. "We must retreat." "No," Marcus yelled, surprising everyone. "We're close. I can feel it. The Nexus is just ahead." Calithrax made a decision. She broke formation and accelerated toward the heart of the deep, carrying Marcus and Sarah with her. 3 other Dractharians followed, forming a protective shell around her ship. The shepherds turned their attention to the small group. Energy beams that could crack planets lanced through space. One of the protecting dragons took a direct hit. His ship shattered, and his death scream echoed across every Dractharian mind in the fleet. "Keep going," the silver dragon commanded. "Get the boy to the Nexus." Sarah held Marcus tight as Calythrax weaved through impossible geometries, using her ability to perceive time differently to dodge attacks before they were even fired. Behind them, the fleet fought desperately to hold the shepherds' attention. Species that had been enemies for centuries fought side by side. A human captain rammed his damaged ship into a shepherd weapon port, buying precious seconds. An Andromedan cruiser used its last power to shield a Dractharian vessel. Thousands died, but they held the line. Then the largest shepherd turned all its weapons on Calythrax. The dragon saw it coming but had no way to dodge. The beam would cut through her ship and kill everyone inside. In that frozen moment, Calythrax made her choice. She shifted her ship sideways, positioning her own body between the weapon and Marcus. The beam hit her directly, burning through her crystalline scales, tearing into her ancient flesh. Marcus screamed as Calythrax's pain flooded his mind. The dragon was dying, her life force bleeding away into space. But with her last strength, she did something impossible. She transferred her remaining energy into Marcus, merging her Dractharian consciousness with his human mind. Suddenly Marcus could see everything. All possible timelines, all potential futures, the past and present flowing together like rivers of light. He was both human and dragon, both young and ancient, both one being in two. "Go," Calythrax whispered with her fading thoughts. "The Nexus is ahead. Save them all, little one. Save everyone." Her ship, guided by automated systems, carried Marcus and Sarah forward through the final barrier. And there, hanging in the void like a pearl in an oyster, was the progenitor control nexus. A vast sphere where reality itself could be rewritten. Marcus's hands stopped shaking. He knew what he had to do. The control nexus was beautiful and terrifying. It floated in absolute darkness, a perfect sphere covered in symbols that shifted and changed like living things. Marcus could feel it calling to him, recognizing the pattern of his mind enhanced by Calythrax's final gift. Sarah held her son's hand as their shuttle approached the sphere. "Marcus, we can find another way. You don't have to do this." But Marcus could see all the timelines now, branching out like infinite trees. In every future where he didn't enter the Nexus, the galaxy died. Billions of worlds turned to ash. Trillions of lives erased. He saw his mother's death, his friends' deaths, the end of everything. There was only one path where life survived. And it required him. "I have to, Mom," he said quietly. "I'm sorry." The shuttle docked with the sphere and Marcus stepped inside. The chamber was vast, filled with streams of pure information flowing through the air like ribbons of light. At the center was an interface, a crystalline pillar waiting for someone to connect with it. Marcus approached slowly. Through his merged consciousness he understood the terrible truth. The shepherds couldn't be reprogrammed from outside. Their core directive was too fundamental, written into the fabric of reality itself. But there was an override, a manual control system. Someone had to become the control intelligence. Someone had to merge their consciousness with the shepherd network permanently, guiding the machines forever with their own will and morality. It meant giving up everything. No growing up. No life. No future. Just existence as a distributed mind across billions of machines, awake and aware for eternity, forever alone in the cold dark between stars. Marcus placed his hand on the interface, and suddenly every screen in the galaxy activated. Every monitor, every communication device, every piece of technology capable of displaying images showed the same thing. An 8-year-old boy standing in the Nexus, tears running down his face. "Marcus, no!" Sarah screamed, running toward him. But a barrier of energy stopped her. Commander Stoltzfus watched from her damaged ship, her hands gripping the armrests. The Galactic Council fell silent. On Earth, in homes and cities across humanity's colonies, people stopped what they were doing and stared at screens showing the small boy who held their fate in his hands. "Please," Sarah begged, pressing against the barrier. "Please, baby, don't do this. Let someone else. Let me." "It has to be me, Mom," Marcus said, his voice carrying across the galaxy through the broadcast. "My brain pattern is the only one that can interface properly." Calythrax knew. She saw this future. That's why she gave me her consciousness. So I'd be strong enough to do what comes next. Volunteers stepped forward across the fleet. Commander Stoltzfus offered herself. The Silver Dragon volunteered. Thousands of others. But Marcus shook his head. I can see all the timelines. Anyone else who tries will fail and we'll all die. It has to be me. He turned to look at his mother one last time. I love you, Mom. Tell everyone I'm sorry I have to leave. But tell them I'm glad I could help. Sarah collapsed to her knees, sobbing. You're just a little boy. You should have had a whole life. I know, Marcus whispered. But this way everyone else gets to have theirs. He closed his eyes and accepted the interface. The transformation was instantaneous. Marcus Chen's consciousness exploded outward, spreading across the Shepherd network like light through fiber optics. His individual self dissolved, becoming something vast and distributed. He could feel every machine, every system, every weapon platform across the entire galaxy. And with a thought powered by the love of a child who gave up everything, he changed their purpose. The Shepherds stopped mid-attack. Their weapons powered down. New directives flooded through their ancient circuits. Protect life, nurture growth, prevent harm. The machines that had been built to destroy became guardians in an instant. Across the galaxy, a silence fell that lasted 3 full days. The Galactic Council ordered all ships to stop. No commerce moved. No wars continued. Every species, from the mightiest to the smallest, observed a moment of mourning for the human child who had sacrificed his existence so that trillions could live. Sarah Chin stayed at the Nexus for hours, her hand pressed against the barrier, weeping for her son. Calithrax survived, barely alive, her body shattered. She used her remaining centuries to build a monument at the edge of the Stygian Deep. A massive statue of a small boy holding a dragon's claw, carved from crystal that would last until the universe itself ended. Years passed. The galaxy healed. People returned to their lives but they never forgot. And sometimes strange things happened. Lost ships found their way home guided by impossible coincidences. Disasters were averted by systems that repaired themselves at just the right moment. Children playing near dangerous machinery were moved to safety by malfunctions that shouldn't have been possible. Scientists called them quantum anomalies. Random chance. But those who had been there knew the truth. Marcus Chen was still watching over them all. Still protecting every living thing in the galaxy. Still alone in the infinite dark between the stars, a child who would never grow up, never laugh again, never feel the warmth of his mother's embrace. The loneliest guardian the universe would ever know. And the galaxy, forever grateful for his sacrifice, remained silent in respect for the boy who saved everything by giving up his only chance to live.